Welcome, Black. We're glad to have you back on the AM show. And it's time now for the news review. I'll be introducing our guests shortly, but joining me in the studio, of course, Sweetie Abochi. We do this together. But helping us bring you this segment every morning, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, they're offering you the same. Every weekday morning, we bring this to you. Why are you not taking advantage? If you're a man, prostate screening for free. Just get yourself checked. You never know what could be happening with you. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free as well. You never know what could be happening, especially if you've never given birth, you know? So why don't you get yourself checked? Just head to any of the branches of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And fortunately, they have many of those. Let's start with Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell symbol. That's where you can find them. In Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex. In Takrady Anaji Estate, in Tema, there's Community 22. There's Techiman Hanswa and Isiama Nzema. You can also reach them via phone on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review. Joining us in the studio, he is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. We give you Affail Monney. Looking all blue this morning. And of course, Sweetie Abochi is also on. I see. Okay, so I'm looking maroon. You are all blue. Green. Army green. And I feel like the odd one out.
And I was spotting some fatty chicks.
It's good. Joy is good for men.
Yes.
It is?
It's very good.
Well, you see, no matter how chaotic the system is, we call ourselves joy, right?
Joy,
so we must radiate
that.
Joy, yeah.
Sweetie, would you like to
get
find
started?
out from Affail Monney what we...
So we do this thing on the show where we give you a minute or two to talk about anything that's topical that you would want to respond to. So what's on your mind this morning, Doc?
The launch of the 75th anniversary of the Ghana Journalists Association. Okay. As a member of the Media Fraternity, I'm inclined to bring it to Reform Banner. And yesterday we were fortunate to have Sam Jonah.
He had a lot to say, didn't he?
He had a lot to say.
So there's a lot of that here.
Yes, well-crafted speech. The timing was right. The point you raised were absolutely on spot. And he challenged the media to live up to expectation. One point he made was that journalists should rise above fear. And once you are shackled by fear, it weakens your resolve to do anything right. And we come a long way from yesteryears when we were shackled by fear, when we were constricted. I remember my days at GBC, it was even an offense to play gospel music at the time. In this item, the contents were determined, even the editing was done by Akufo-Addo. It was just there, and it was criminal to even raise a dissenting view on anything nationalistic. So we've come a long way from years, those hellish years. Now we are in an era of freedom. We still have some challenges. We are not out of the woods yet. So, but the appeal to all journalists that this profession is not for the chicken-hearted or lily-livered. This profession is for courageous,
chicken-hearted, lily-livered.
Yes. courageous, brave. And I like your motto: fearless and independent journalism. So all journalists should adopt, imbibe, and display this fearless streak and independence in whatever we do. And Ghana will be on a different trajectory of development altogether.
And that's what we pray for. And that's why we've put on ourselves that tagline. Independent, fearless, credible. Anyway, Sweetie Abochi.
So let's get into the newspapers because there's a lot happening. And the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper brings some sort of smile to my face because we were talking about this all over last week and this week. I mean, last month, I think, this case of missing biometric voter registration kits. So on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, the headlines: 4 caged over missing EC equipment. Tamale delegation visits Munster to strengthen ties. Nana appoints new accountant general. Let's support women. That's according to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. And man remanded for robbing second lady. I'll start with the story on page 3. That is 4 caged over missing BVR kits. 3 employees of the Electoral Commission and a student have been remanded into police custody over the theft of electronic equipment belonging to the EC. So Philip Latte, who's the labourer, Benjamin Fienyi, security man, Joseph Blankson Edu Maji, who is a database analyst and administrator, and Clifford Yeboah, a student, are accused of stealing 5 Dell laptop equipment from the biometric voter registration kits. The EC officials have been charged with 1 count of conspiracy to steal and 2 counts of stealing, while Clifford Yeboah has been charged with 1 count of dishonesty receiving. So they all plead not guilty to all 4 charges, and the prosecutor, Chief Inspector Christopher Wonder, prayed the court to remand the accused to prevent them from interfering with the ongoing investigations into the theft. Dr. Affail Monney, how do you feel about the story?
The EC was dismissive from the outset when the NDC blew the alarm over the missing laptop. They said yes, mere laptops, which could pose no danger to the outcome elections.
Yeah.
And only for NDC to be persistent in raising this issue to the extent of even coming out with more revelations. So we are happy that the law is taking its course, so we should allow the law to take its course. And one also wonders that EC as a highly security zone, one would expect their system to be tight-proof and not allow such incidents to happen. So they should learn from what has happened. It should serve as a fountain of lessons from which we should drink, so that none of this happens again.
Well, do you want, Benjamin, any quick reactions before we go on?
No, it's fine. I mean, I feel that this election is going to be one of the most crucial that we've ever had. And you want to, as much as possible, avoid any person. I mean, honestly, aren't we tired of the electoral petitions and court rulings? I remember the first time with the Mahama one, it was almost as though you've won, but technically you may not have won.
Yeah.
And you are doing stuff, but you're holding back, until the court delivered its ruling. Same with the second one, which was against the MPP. I think we should get to the point where when the EC declares, you can have faith in it and realize this is it. And some of those little chinks in the armor, electoral violence, BVDs or laptops with issues. Because someone could say, look, you are saying 5 laptops, but 5 laptops could be the difference between manipulation and no manipulation. So you can't take anything for granted. And we have to get to the point where there is that, because already we have the problem of perceived partisanship as far as the electoral commissions are concerned. It also doesn't help that, let's say, the NDC, when there's an EC that they have brought in, everything the EC does is right.
It's right.
When it's the MPP, everything. So you almost seem to see, look at the MPP's positioning on this. Oh, but this is nothing. And that creates problems. You can be 100% sure if the MPP were in opposition now and the NDC were in power, the MPP would be saying, hey, these laptops. And so once there is that, you must ensure that you are way above the board so that no one can have even a scintilla of whatever accusation against you. Else, we'll be walking the tightrope. That's my
absolutely.
Already there's voter apathy clouding the elections, and so I think that they just thread carefully not to plant any doubt in the minds of Ghanaians to ensure credibility. That's the working word here.
Credibility.
Because otherwise, if there's room for doubts, plenty problems trooping. Right, so on page 6 of the Daily Guide newspaper, I want to do the story about a new appointment of new Accountant General, which happened, I think, on Monday or so. So President Akufo-Addo has appointed Kwesi Addo as the new Accountant Controller and Accountant General. His appointment follows the resignation of Kwesi Kwenin Bosumpim from the position. So the new acting CAG assumed office on Monday. Okay, so he assumed office on Monday, April 15th. Mr. Kwesi Addo comes to office with over 20 years wealth of experience in the public sector. And until his new appointment, he was a Deputy Controller and Accountant General in charge of the Treasury. Addo has served on various boards, including the Ministerial Advisory Board of the Finance Ministry, etc. Is this very welcoming news to you, then? Before I come to Dr. Affail Monney.
I don't know whether to call it welcoming. It's just another one of those.
Why are we seeing a lot of these hiring and firing, new appointments? And I don't know if we should be linking them to this election year coming December. There's been a lot of new appointments that's been from the judiciary, even the executive ministers here and there. Dr. Snit.
And some are also resigning, like,
you know,
is it
Snit under questionable
Kelly
circumstances.
Gadeko?
Yeah.
ECG. Others are also moving away. I mean, is it Dr. Tenkrang? He had been at Snit
pumping new
for 7
faces.
years.
Yeah, after 7 years. What's the rush in pumping new faces onto the forefront of these institutions?
The president has the latitude to make last-minute changes because he's a coach and he can best select the team to perform.
Right.
He has about 8 more months for him to finish his mandate. So no one can fault him on that. Okay. But in the case of Accountant General, I think the appointment has been late in coming.
Okay.
The former Accountant General shot himself in the foot when they started to contest parliamentary election.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so he polluted himself with partisanship, and that attracted calls for his removal. But the president was adamant, and so as the saying goes, better late than never.
Okay. I'll just do some more quick headlines and then we move on to the new finder because we don't have a lot of time. So ECMA pays 71,764 Ghana cedis leap money to beneficiaries. Court resigned CID boss, another bench warrant. KGL Foundation hosts Tamale Eid Fest. And Grave Ghana featured partner to offer security solutions. Inflation inches up to 16.5%. Fuel prices go up again. Of course, that happened yesterday or 2 days ago. Any of these stories you want to react to quickly, and then I can read a bit of it before we get into it.
Any upward adjustment in fuel prices it raises questions about the viability of the Go for Oil policy. Many of those are still questioning why we should go in for Go for Oil. Meanwhile, we are told that this has insulated the system from regularly scaling up fuel prices. So, but we are told the Bank of Ghana has decided to shift the Go for Oil policy to the private sector. And our foreign creditors, IMF, has also been raising questions about the Go for Oil sector. The allegations that it's fraught with all kinds of more fees. So these allegations. So there's a need to take a hard look at this policy so that we are not shortchanged as a nation.
Yesterday I was interacting, you remember, with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. I don't know whether the name is Dr. Fori. I have to check. But, you know, he was saying basically that Go for Oil had not delivered, you know, because back then there was a little difference, and then look at where fuel prices are at again. And you see, we always have to put things in context. What we are paying now for a liter is what a few years down the road we're paying for a gallon. You know, so it's still problematic. We're hoping that, of course, times change, the prices of petroleum products have changed. What we produce is a drop in the bucket because we bring in way more than what we produce and even export. We must find a way somehow. We must, because now we are not doing well when it comes to cocoa. Our production this year is one of the lowest we have ever had in about a decade. It also is tied to galamsey and the wanton activity of people milking the system, including people in government. Let's not hide it. People in government as well. And all you have to do is reference Professor Frimpong Boateng's report and reference what people have said. Forestry Commission, district heads telling you that we are frustrated because you are in the area, you find someone doing the illegal thing, you try to stop the person, then you get a call. Hey, gee, relax. You know, so it's a convoluted problem.
In every election year, the fight against galamsey, you know, takes a downward spiral altogether. Every election year, and even in the fishing sector, in election years, the people who abuse the law, people who do all kinds of legal fishing are not apprehended, and that is the reality.
This is where we find ourselves. Yesterday, I was interacting with some commercial drivers, and they say that, how is this fair? First, they want to increase fuel prices, transport fares, because fuel prices have gone up. Cost of maintenance products is equally biting hard on them. And Ministry of Transport is saying don't increase. Well, I admit I have to read. I don't know if they've concluded on that meeting yesterday and the outcome of that meeting. But if you're saying they shouldn't increase fuel price, the transport fares, yet you are increasing fuel price. Sometimes they can't even tell. It's just 20 pesos,
unfair.
30 pesos. By the third time, you realize that it's a cedi more than you used to pay. Yeah. And so how is the government really... Is the government thinking about them? So one of them was complaining, and we'll bring you that story later on.
But the GRTCC, I mean, there was a meeting and there was talk about the fact that, listen, the last time there was an increment, I think fuel prices had crossed 20 cedis, thereabouts. Until it crosses again, you are not getting any increment. And there was a time too when there was a decrease in fuel prices and you guys did not decrease. But you see, you have to, and this is where you have to be objective. I agree, because ordinary people picking that trotro or that taxi or that Uber or whatever, Yango and whatever, have to pay through the nose because of the increment in fuel prices. But spare parts. I had, what's the name of that thing? It has to do with the AC and all of that. I think the compressor. If I tell you how much I had to fork out recently to buy a compressor, and this is even what we call home used here, not like brand new. You'd be surprised. A few things I had to do on the car. If I tell you how much I spent, you'd be surprised.
And that industry is totally unregulated.
So you have spare part prices that have ballooned by whatever percentage. Payments at the DVLA shot up. Lubricant prices shot up. Insurance has gone up. Fuel prices have gone up. And even if you're going to purchase a vehicle today, the prices have doubled. So you must look at it from both ends. These people who are transport operators, we are not saying they must just anyhow come and just do anything. But at the same time, if you use a car, you know that maintaining a car today is far, far, far more expensive than it was just a few years ago.
Well, let's move on. This is a New Finder newspaper. On the front page, request for proposal for Saglemi housing projects. That is Kojo Upon Nkrumah asking private investors to help. President commissions 150 megawatts plant to stabilize power supply in Ashanti region. I will form a truly representative
You mean the Ameri
plants
that
now it's Kumasi 1 thermal power plant. Asante Hene urges government to allow private investment in ECG, Gridco, VRA. Do you think that we should privatize our electricity company, Dr. Affail Monney, what do you think? Asante Hene is saying that government is not handling it too well, so they should privatize it.
The experts tell us that ownership is a significant factor of industry performance. But the Chinese have found a way of, smashing into smithering this theory. So what is most important is to get the right people to head the right institutions. It is very, very important. So when just like the computer philosophy, garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage out.
So, yes. So if you put square pegs in round holes, there's no way
you will.
Yeah, you expect satisfactory performance. So there's a need for appointed authorities to ensure that the right people are put at the right places. And then the core of privatization, we have a culture of chasing state institutions, state property, with disdain, with carelessness. So one way to address this issue is to privatize, wash the state. But we have certain state institutions which have justified state ownership. The state ownership comes with social safety net, because once you leave an institution, critical institution, highly sensitive institution to a private sector, the addition to profit, unbridled profit, will cause them to... Yes, so there's a need to take a hard look at all these issues and ensure that the nation...
So I will share my thoughts on that, because there's more about that in the papers. I just see one of our listeners, Papa Yenzu Kwanza in Takoradi, saying, respectfully, I disagree with the Asante-Hene on a suggestion on ECG to be given to private investors, to foreigners or local. We can't lose all our state institutions to private investors. I think we have to do away with politics involved in the selection of personnel to manage our various state institutions. That's where the problem is. But you see, I don't know whether we, first off, fundamentally, I disagree with the Asante-Hene. And here's why. We already have so much of our economy in the hands of foreigners. In fact, one of the most dangerous, we don't pay attention to it, but telcos. Up until recently, now that we are claiming, oh, we've bought 80.
I don't think Asante was specifically calling for foreigners to handle.
No, I get it. Because even that's what this person is mentioning, whether foreign or local. But privatization, whether foreign or local, comes with what you said. Profiteering at a much steeper level. And if you're not careful, what that means, you saw when PDS came in. Why did the PDS fold up? The same ECG thing. And now we had to go through the rigmarole of PDS and now switching everything back to ECG. Look at what it took us, even in terms of cost, stationary. You're now moving from PDS. Do you know how much that cost?
Huge financial loss, PDS.
You know, so the private entity will always look at doing business from a certain profiteering standpoint. The ECGs and the rest are supposed to break even and be able to get a little more and manage their affairs in the interest of the people. It likely means higher electricity costs. People are already, choking. You get it. Our telcos, 80 now we claim is ours. We claim. But if you look at the space, if one entity or two decided we're bailing out or we want to crush you, can you imagine what Ghana will be like in terms of telecommunications? The service industry, most of them are owned by private enterprise, usually foreigners. If we go this way, what next? Water? I don't think, and I honestly don't think as of now, we have the hands or the entities with a proper conscience to manage. That is local privatization of ECG. So let's keep things as they are. And like you said, get proper leadership.
Leadership.
One thing that baffles me, and this is how I'll end, Samuel Dubik Mahama has done well, the ECG boss, with getting what the ECG is owed, people paying their bills and all of that. In other aspects, he may not have fared so well. So what more can he do better? Those are the things we should look at, not this bit about privatization. I am not for it, because then all the tools of your economy could be in the hands of either local private entities or foreign private entities. That is very dangerous on national security grounds. Incredibly dangerous.
And the Chinese model should serve as a fountain of lesson. We can look at the Chinese model, a combination of private and state, without losing its control over certain key institutions.
Right. Let's get into your newspapers. Or Ben, do you want to do that?
No. Let him.
The Ghanaian Times has its number one story, 9-party alliance for revolutionary change to contest 2024 polls. And according to Alan Chermantin, who has the change, they are in to produce the first independent president in the history of this country. The story said that 9 political parties, groups have allied to contest the 2024 presidential election to break the dominant duopoly in Ghana politics from the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress. The alliance spearheaded by the Movement for Change, a political movement founded by Mr. Alan Chermantin, a former Minister of Trade and Industry, and a leading member of the MPP, is under the umbrella Alliance for Revolutionary Change. And the alliance realized its objective by advocating for fundamental constitutional reforms, including but not limited to reforms in governance, public sector, accountability, management of our natural resources, as well as the mindset and attitudinal change in Ghana.
Did they stand a chance?
Lofty dream, but it's a distant one. We need to square their dream to the logical reality, and the reality is that Ghana is not yet ripe for an independent president. That is the reality.
But it's a step in the right direction.
It is a step in the right direction. NDC NPP need to be given some hot chase for them to. The complacency is too much on the part of NDC NPP.
Yeah.
One can easily predict that it will either be NDC or NPP at any given election, and the 8-year factor is also real. So we commend Alan Chairman for injecting dynamism into the political system. While we applaud him, we also need to filter the objective of this alliance through the lenses of reality. And the reality is that it's not his time yet.
In fact, it ties into a story in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Our former first representative government in nation's history. And according to the story, the founder and leader of the movement for change, Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, has pledged to lead a government that represents all segments of the country if elected as president in the upcoming presidential election. He said the divisiveness in the country's politics, driven by the duopoly of the ruling NPP and the main NDC, was the major destabilizing factor. And the interesting bit is the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. The last time Dr. Abu Sakara Foster was here, I was telling him they are very close to something else we've had in our history, AFRC, Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, but they are ARC. But what do you think about that alliance, though? That alliance, what do you make of it? Do you think it's... Because they are still looking for other people to come on board. They are still looking for
other people. Abu Sankara, daughter, is a fantastic material. So is Alan. They make a very good pair, but the viability of the alliance is something which is still questionable. Global
Info Analytics conducted a recent survey where, per the figures, the former President Mahama was getting 53+%. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was getting something north of, is it 39 or 34%? And interestingly, Alan Kyerematen was securing about 7% of the vote. Some have questioned whether that could happen, because if it did, it would spell doom for either the NDC or the NPP. You know the margins by which elections have been won in this country. Could be a precarious one for them. But anyway,
NPP has come out to rubbish the latest findings by for analytics, and so let's see what happens.
I'll just do the story and then we can move on to other papers. I have just the Daily Graphic. Journalists must be fearless, Sir Sam Jonah says. A statesman said Dr. Sam Jonah has called on journalists to be fearless, courageous, and not compromise when defending the national interest. You've spoken about that already, so let me not belabor the point. On the international front, page 5, constitutional changes, presidential power grab, Togolese opposition. This is an interesting matter where in a number of years, while they are saying it's rather making the president less powerful, in effect, it is not true. And in coming years, then he becomes the leader of parliament in a way, becoming prime minister. I think since 1967, his father and he himself have led Togo. The Olympio story and the others. And now, 67 till 2024, one family. Father to son. Also reminds you of Equatorial Guinea. Teodoro Obiang.
Yes.
I'm done with it.
Okay. Do you have any more papers, Doc?
Still, the
Times. Want to get into the Times?
The Times, Western Housing Ministry invite me to revive Saglemi housing projects.
Right.
And I think we owe Kojo Nkrumah, former Minister of Information, a debt of gratitude. We ought to sprinkle a good dust of commendation on this young man for injecting dynamism into the ministry and attempting to revive this Saglemi housing project.
That's an important
which has
story.
Suffered from backward political decisions. So backward that we have.
But can we redeem Saglemi as of this point with everything that has happened? The bits lost, Sam George came into my studio and said, people are basically taking lock, stock, and barrel. Things in there from toilet bowls to doors to fittings. Like,
But if we have private investors,
the shell that
can,
is there.
they can do it. They can make it work.
Yeah,
They can make it work.
What is they get the funding and the commitment, and it seems like, I mean, I don't know what is in mind. You can't tell what's on his mind, but he seems like he wants to do something about it.
Yeah.
So we can just watch and see.
Yeah.
Francis Asenso-Boakye,
Ah.
who was in there, was talking about this privatization. But do you know what that means? Basically, I mean, the idea was moving off. We can't, it's been said that we might have to spend another whatever fixing this, but it's also because we left it to deteriorate to the point it has got to now, which means
Criminal
that
negligence.
by the time this is done with a private entity, it's not going to be affordable to anybody. It's only going to be affordable for the elite.
Certainly, the private investor will have to recoup his investment. And so it will mean pricing the houses above the pocket of ordinary man. They go ahead and do it.
It still would be put to some use. I choose to think
Exactly.
that it won't go waste because it's been lying there for years and it's not going anywhere. So it's still something that we can look back and say at least he completed the Saglemi housing project. And at least that project has been put to some use.
Exactly.
So I think we should just give Kojo Oppong Nkrumah the benefits of the doubt and see where he takes this.
And the media should also
add,
sharpen their
that-
focus on this project. The media should sharpen their focus on this project.
Yeah.
Affail Monney, we have done, what have we not done here in this media house on Saglemi? What have we not done? We have done practically everything. But let me just end by saying that how many months are left in 2024?
And the 7?
6.
6. Okay.
Nothing much. Mark my words.
7.
Nothing much can be done on Saglemi between now and the end of 2024.
Well,
Reality.
the takeoff is good. Kujo has taken off.
That's why I was citing Francis Asenso-Boakye. Before him, there had been talk and a pushback. But let's see how it goes.
Let's see.
I guess we'd
Right.
have to run.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No, that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Affail
Time
Monney,
is up.
thank you so much for joining us
It's a
this morning.
pleasure. And
Unless there's something.
this
you-
place is like heaven.
Oh, you like the new studio?
studio.
Yes, I need to a glimpse of heaven.
Thank you. I like that. Yeah.
I think we should use that as a caption. New Joy News Studio.
And then
A glimpse of heaven. Anyway,
Right.
Affail Monney is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. He joined us for this review. And of course, the forest green, pearl wearing, green spectacle rocking Sweetie Abochi was in here with us as well. Right before we go, let's quickly acknowledge Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They help us bring you this segment every weekday morning. They're offering prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches. They are in Accra, Sprintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronumabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and the Siama Nzima. You can reach them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Sweetie, are you ready? Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic.
The end to chronic disease.
But the
Thank
start of
you.
sports, and yesterday
I
it was a
didn't
drawn
watch
match,
I
but
didn't watch the jubilation when Man City faced Real Madrid. was
Real
it?
Madrid
yeah, so
won
it ended
watch
on
the game
penalties.
itself, yeah.
1-1,
Yeah.
and Rodrigo netting in the 12th minute, Manchester City coming on. And then it went to penalties. And, 3-4, Manchester City tasting defeat.
And you should look out for all the details because Muftar Nabil Abdullah is bringing it to you.
fact, I wish I
have
could-
to go.
In fact, I wish I could be here with him and do the analysis. But Muftar will be back up next. Do stay.